The stars stretched endlessly outside the viewport of the Artemis II, a corporate exploration vessel designed for long-distance missions. It was a quiet night in space, except for the low hum of engines and the occasional beep of the life support monitors. Alex sat at the navigation console, sipping lukewarm coffee, when the calm of the ship broke with a violent shudder. "What the?" Alex exclaimed, gripping the edge of the console. Red warning lights flashed across the room, and an alarm screamed. "Alex, report!" Dr. Mara Vey's voice cut through the chaos, calm but urgent. She appeared from the corridor, her white coat slightly singed from the spark that had jumped from the power conduit. Mara had always carried herself with authority, even in stressful situations, but Alex noticed a flicker of unease in her eyes. "We hit something. Sensors are offline. Engines are failing," Alex replied, pressing buttons frantically, trying to stabilize the readings. Mara's brows knit together. "Can you control the ship?" "I'm trying," Alex shouted over the alarm, fingers moving over the touchscreen, rerouting power, attempting to bring the engines back online. The ship groaned, metal twisting with stress. A violent jolt threw Alex off balance. Coffee spilled across the console, hissing as it hit a hot panel. Mara lunged forward, catching Alex just before he slid across the floor. "Hold on," she yelled. The Artemis II shook violently as if space itself had grabbed it and tried to tear it apart. Outside the viewport, the stars streaked into white lines. Then, with a bone-jarring crash, the ship was ripped from orbit and sent spinning uncontrollably toward a nearby planet. Alex slammed into the floor again, pain shooting through his shoulder. He groaned but forced himself up. "We're going down," he yelled, gripping a handhold. Mara's calm voice returned, steady and commanding, despite the chaos. "Buckle in, Alex. Emergency protocols." They strapped themselves into the nearest safety harnesses. Sparks flew around the bridge as the console panels smoked. The world outside was a blur of colors as the planet rushed closer and closer. Alex gritted his teeth and held on. He had trained for emergencies, but nothing could prepare him for the real thing. The ship hit the atmosphere with a violent roar, tearing through the clouds. Heat flared around the hull, shaking them violently. Alex felt like his chest might collapse from the force. The emergency parachutes failed to deploy fully, and the ship crashed through the upper forested layer of the planet, splintering trees and sending rocks flying. Then silence. For a moment, Alex could only breathe, choking on dust and smoke. The ship had come to a stop, half buried in a clearing surrounded by tall, alien trees. Red emergency lights cast shadows across the cabin. The air smelled of burnt metal and ozone. Alex unstrapped himself, wincing at his bruised shoulder. He looked across the cockpit at Mara, who was checking the instruments and equipment. Her hair was messy, and a small cut ran across her forehead. She looked tired, but her eyes were sharp and alert. "We made it," Alex said, voice shaking. I can't believe we made it," Mara nodded slowly. "Yes. By some miracle, we did." They climbed out of the wrecked ship. The forest stretched endlessly before them, with strange, glowing plants and thick vines hanging from enormous trees. The sky was a strange shade of teal, with two suns casting long shadows. Birds or creatures that looked like birds screeched from the treetops. Alex looked around, awe and fear mingling in his chest. "Where are we?" Mara shook her head. "Unknown. We'll need to find shelter and check for supplies. First, we make sure we're alive, and the ship's systems are stable." Alex nodded. He glanced back at the smoking wreck of the Artemis II, knowing it would take weeks, maybe months, to repair if they even had the right materials. They began walking through the alien forest, carrying what they could from the ship. A small toolkit, a few emergency rations, and a handheld communicator that flickered weakly. The forest floor was uneven, littered with strange plants and vines that moved slightly, as if sensing their presence. "This planet, it's alive," Alex muttered. He reached down to touch a plant, and it recoiled as if it had a mind of its own. Mara frowned. "Focus, Alex. We survive first. Observe later." As they walked, Mara occasionally glanced at Alex, and he noticed her movements were tense, her usual commanding posture softened by fear. It was rare to see Mara like this. She was always composed, always precise, always in control. But now, she was human. Just like him. Hours passed. The suns began to set, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. They found a small cave at the base of a rocky hill, just big enough to take shelter. The cave smelled damp but safe, and Alex helped Mara set up a temporary sleeping area using blankets and salvaged cushions from the ship. Mara sat down heavily, staring at the ground. "Alex," she said quietly. "Yes?" he replied. She took a deep breath. I've been pretending for years. Pretending I can handle everything. Pretending I never make mistakes. I can't do it anymore. Not here. Not now. Not now. Not now. Not now." Alex blinked. He wasn't sure what to say. For years, Mara had been the untouchable, perfect scientist and leader. Seeing her vulnerable was strange, but also comforting. "You don't have to pretend here," Alex said softly. "Not with me. We survive together. That's enough." Mara looked up at him, a small, weary smile on her face. "Thank you, Alex. I didn't know I could feel this way about someone I work with. But right now, I'm glad you're here." They settled in for the night. Outside, alien sounds echoed through the forest. Chirps, rustles, and the occasional roar of unseen creatures. Alex lay on his side, staring at the glowing moss in the cave, thinking about the day's events. They had survived a crash, faced the unknown, and somehow, they were still alive. The forest outside was dark and mysterious. But Alex felt a spark of hope. Humans had survived worse. Humans had adapted, learned, and conquered challenges that seemed impossible. And now, on this strange planet, he felt that same resilience awakening inside him. Mara stirred beside him. "Tomorrow," she whispered, "we find water, food, and figure out how to fix the ship. We can do this, Alex. Together." Alex nodded, a faint smile on his lips. Together. As they drifted into uneasy sleep, the forest outside seemed to watch them, curious and alive. The stars above shone like distant promises, reminding Alex that even in the vast, dangerous universe, humans could endure. They could survive. They could thrive. And for the first time, Alex truly believed it. The morning light broke through the cave's entrance, casting a pale glow over Alex and Mara. Outside, the alien forest stretched endlessly. Alien plants swaying in the light breeze. Birds or creatures that looked like birds chirped strangely, their calls high and melodic, but tinged with warning. Alex stretched his stiff muscles, wincing at the pain in his shoulder from the crash. Mara was already on her feet, checking the makeshift shelter and scanning the forest beyond. Her face was set in a determined expression, one that reminded Alex why she had been their leader on countless missions. But today, he noticed a softness there too, a humanity that came from fear and survival. "First things first," Mara said, her voice steady. "Water, food, shelter. If we don't find those, nothing else matters." Alex nodded. "I agree. Let's split tasks. I'll check the forest floor for edible plants, and you scout higher ground. Maybe you'll find a water source." Mara paused, then nodded. "Careful. This planet is unknown. Nothing is guaranteed." They moved carefully into the forest, Alex scanning the ground. The alien soil was soft, dotted with glowing mushrooms and small flowers that pulsed faintly. Some vines moved slightly, almost as if sensing their presence. Alex knelt to examine a cluster of orange berries growing near a tree trunk. He held one, turning it over in his hand. "Looks safe," he muttered, tasting a tiny piece. The flavor was sweet, almost like a mix of mango and apple. He plucked a few more. Meanwhile, Mara climbed a small hill, using her tools to clear vines and inspect the terrain. From the top, she saw the faint shimmer of a river cutting through the forest. Her heart lifted. Fresh water meant survival, and water sources often indicated the presence of edible plants and game. Alex heard her call. "Over here! I found water!" He scrambled up the hill to join her. The river flowed with crystal-clear water, winding through mossy rocks and luminous plants. Alex knelt, cupping his hands to drink. The water was cold, refreshing, and life-giving. Mara joined him, watching him drink with a faint smile. "This is a start," she said. "We can survive here, if we plan carefully." Alex nodded, feeling a spark of hope. "We need to mark this place, so we don't get lost. And we should set up a base camp near the river. Water is priority one." They spent the next few hours gathering supplies. Alex collected edible plants, while Mara fashioned makeshift containers from broken ship panels and nearby rocks. Together, they built a small fire pit, careful to avoid attracting predators. The alien forest seemed alive in a way that was both beautiful and dangerous. Vines shifted slightly, birds called warnings, and small glowing insects hovered near their heads. As they worked, Alex noticed Mara struggling with a heavy piece of equipment she had salvaged from the ship. Without thinking, he stepped forward. "Here, let me help," he said. Mara hesitated, then nodded. Together, they lifted the equipment, carrying it to their new camp. Alex saw the tension leave her shoulders, replaced by a flicker of relief. It was a small moment, but it spoke volumes. Trust was growing between them. By midday, they had a basic camp set up. Mara inspected the tools and supplies, her mind already planning repairs for the ship. "If we're going to survive here long-term, we need more than just food and water. Shelter, power, and communication systems are next." Alex looked around at the forest. "We'll need to explore carefully, find materials, understand the land. This planet might be alive, and we need to respect that." Mara nodded, impressed. "You're learning fast, Alex." "Good." As they prepared to rest, the forest suddenly shifted. A rustling sound echoed nearby, and both froze. Alex's hand instinctively went to the tool belt at his waist. From behind a thick tree trunk, a creature emerged. It was small, no larger than a dog, but its skin shimmered in shades of green and blue. Its eyes glowed softly, and it tilted its head curiously at them. Alex exhaled slowly. "Looks harmless." Mara, however, was cautious. "Do not underestimate it. This planet is unknown. It could change its mind at any second." The creature sniffed the air, then darted away into the forest. Alex laughed quietly. "Well, at least something here isn't trying to eat us immediately." Mara smiled faintly. "Enjoy it while it lasts." The next challenge came unexpectedly. While searching for more edible plants, Alex noticed strange, shallow depressions in the soil. Small, circular, and perfectly aligned. They looked artificial. "Mara, come look at this," he called. Mara approached, examining the markings closely. This isn't natural. Could be remnants of some ancient civilization. Maybe even alien structures nearby." Alex's excitement grew. "Do you think we could find something useful? Materials? Technology?" Mara nodded cautiously. "Possibly. But be careful. We don't know what else might be here." As they explored further, Alex's optimism collided with the reality of the planet. Thorny vines snagged their clothes, strange insects crawled over their skin, and the heat from the dual suns made even short treks exhausting. But Alex adapted. Using fallen branches and vines, he created simple tools and traps to catch small creatures for food. Mara marveled silently at his quick thinking. By evening, they returned to camp, exhausted but satisfied. They had collected enough food to last a few days, and found some rocks and branches that could reinforce their shelter. The river flowed nearby, a constant reminder that survival was possible if they stayed vigilant. They sat by the fire, cooking a small meal of alien berries and roasted insects. Mara handed Alex a piece of fruit. "You've done well today. I didn't think we'd manage this in the first day." Alex smiled, taking the fruit. "We're a good team." Mara looked at him, her expression softening. "Yes, we are. And I owe you something." Alex tilted his head. "What's that?" "Your honesty, your courage, your resourcefulness. You've made this crash bearable, Alex. I don't say this often, but I respect you." Alex felt a warmth in his chest, pride mixed with relief. Mara Vey, the brilliant and usually untouchable scientist, trusted him. He had survived the crash, the forest, and now earned her respect. The night fell, and the alien forest came alive in ways both mesmerizing and unsettling. Glowing insects drifted through the air. Alien sounds echoed from the trees, and the river sparkled under the dual moons. Alex and Mara huddled in their shelter, listening to the strange symphony of life outside. Before sleep claimed him, Alex reflected on the day. Humans were remarkable. In every situation, they adapted, learned, and survived. Today, on this alien planet, he had lived that truth firsthand. Mara had learned it too. "Tomorrow," Mara whispered before closing her eyes, "we explore further. We find resources, understand this place, and keep surviving. Together." Alex nodded, feeling a sense of purpose he hadn't felt in years. Together, they could face anything. The forest might be alive, the planet strange, and danger always lurking, but humans were clever, resourceful, and resilient, and they would endure. As sleep overtook him, Alex looked at the strange sky through the cave opening. Stars twinkled in alien constellations, and the dual moons cast pale light on the forest. He realized something important. Humans were survivors, and nothing, not even an unknown world, could take that away. Tomorrow would be harder. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. But today, they had survived. And that was enough. The forest outside whispered secrets of the unknown, but Alex felt ready. He would explore, learn, and adapt. And with Mara at his side, they would not only survive, they might thrive. The next morning, the twin suns rose slowly over the alien forest, painting the sky in soft shades of orange and violet. Alex stretched, feeling the soreness in his muscles from yesterday's exploration. Mara was already up, checking their supplies by the river. The water sparkled, and the forest seemed to hum with quiet life. "Today, we explore further," Mara said firmly. "We need more resources and a better understanding of this place. There might be more water, edible plants, or even shelter nearby." Alex nodded, gathering tools and carrying a small pack of supplies. "I'm ready," he said. "Let's see what this planet has to offer." They set off deeper into the forest. The trees were taller here, their leaves glowing faintly, casting shadows across the uneven ground. Strange creatures darted through the undergrowth, some curious, some wary. Alex noticed the forest seemed almost intelligent, plants adjusting their positions, vines shifting slightly, as if sensing their presence. "Be careful," Mara warned. "We don't know what's friendly and what's not." Alex smiled faintly. "I'll keep my eyes open." As they walked, Alex spotted unusual markings on the ground. Small depressions and faint lines formed patterns circular and geometric, unlike anything natural. "Mara, look at this," he called. She crouched beside him, examining the marks. "These aren't random," she said thoughtfully. "This could be evidence of an intelligent species. Maybe a civilization we don't know about. It's faint, but there's a pattern." Alex's curiosity surged. "Do you think we could find something useful? Tools, shelter, maybe even technology?" Mara nodded slowly. "It's possible, but we must be careful. This planet is alive in ways we don't understand. Any technology could be dangerous, or it could be valuable. We need to observe first." They followed the markings, which led them through dense forest and over rocky terrain. The air was thick but breathable, carrying the scent of alien flowers and damp earth. After several hours, they arrived at a hidden valley. At its center was a partially buried structure, shimmering faintly in the sunlight. Alex's eyes widened. It's some kind of building, or remains of one. Mara approached cautiously, brushing away glowing moss and vines that had grown over the structure. Strange symbols adorned the walls, etched into stone. Alex ran his fingers over the carvings. These aren't random. This was made by intelligent beings. We might be the first humans to see this in centuries. Maybe millennia. Mara's face was serious. Let's look carefully. Take notes. This could help us understand how they survived here, or why they disappeared. Inside the structure, they found remnants of alien technology. Small machines, unlike anything Alex had seen, were partially buried in dust and moss. Some had screens or lights that flickered faintly. Alex knelt, examining one of the devices. He pressed a small button, and the machine hummed to life, projecting holographic images of landscapes, star maps, and strange creatures. "This is incredible," Alex whispered. "It's a record of their world, maybe their history." Mara studied the projections with a scientist's eye. "Look at the patterns. They mapped their environment, their species, even their knowledge of survival. If we can learn from this, we can use their methods to survive here better." Alex felt a surge of pride and excitement. Humans had always been explorers, learners, adapters. Here, on a planet that could have easily been their grave, they were discovering knowledge that might save their lives. As they explored further, Alex found a small device that looked like a recorder. He carefully activated it, and a holographic figure appeared, an alien being speaking in a language they couldn't understand. But symbols flashed on the screen, forming a translation sequence. The alien seemed to be giving instructions for survival, showing how to find water, grow food, and avoid predators. Mara looked at Alex, eyes wide. This could help us survive indefinitely. If we understand it, we can adapt faster than we imagined. Alex nodded, his mind racing. We can use this. We can learn from them and stay alive. But as they studied the technology, the structure trembled slightly. Dust fell from the ceiling, and the ground shifted. Alex stepped back. "Did you feel that?" Mara's expression tightened. "Yes. The planet is unstable here. Maybe seismic activity, maybe the structure itself. We need to be cautious." They decided to leave the building and return to their camp with the data they had collected. On the way back, Mara paused. Her usual composed expression softened. "Alex, I need to tell you something." Alex looked at her. "What is it?" She hesitated, then spoke quietly. "Before this crash, before all of this, I pretended I could handle everything. I pretended I never made mistakes. I didn't trust anyone with my vulnerabilities. Not even you. But now, I see that humans survive because we work together, because we trust each other. I can't pretend anymore." Alex felt a warmth in his chest. "Mara, you don't have to pretend with me. Not here. We survive together. And that's enough." Mara gave a small, relieved smile. "Thank you. That means more than you know." They returned to camp as the suns began to set. The alien forest glowed in soft colors, and the river sparkled under the fading light. Alex helped Mara carry the technology and supplies. They reinforced the shelter with fallen branches and vines, ensuring it would hold through the night. By the time night fell, they were exhausted but satisfied. They sat by the fire, eating a small meal of berries and roasted insects. Alex looked at Mara. "We did well today. We survived, explored, and learned something incredible." Mara nodded. "Yes. And we've learned to trust each other. That's just as important as anything else." Alex smiled. "Tomorrow, we can use what we found to improve our camp, maybe even find more food or water. We're getting stronger, smarter, and we're doing it together." Mara's gaze softened. "Yes. Together." As they prepared for sleep, The forest outside came alive with sounds and lights. Strange creatures moved in the shadows, insects glowed faintly, and the river reflected the twin moons. Alex lay on his back, staring at the alien sky through the cave entrance. He realized something important. Humans were survivors. They adapted, learned, and thrived in environments that seemed impossible. The alien technology they had found was a gift, a chance to survive better and understand a world that had almost defeated them. And more than that, the trust between Alex and Mara was growing, forming a bond stronger than any fear. Tomorrow, Mara whispered before closing her eyes, we explore further. We learn, we survive, and we keep each other safe. Together. Alex nodded, feeling a sense of purpose and hope. The planet might be dangerous, the forest mysterious, and the nights cold and full of unknown sounds, but they had each other. And they had human resilience. Humans could survive. Humans could adapt. Humans could thrive. And Alex felt it more clearly than ever as he drifted into sleep under the alien sky, ready for whatever the planet had in store next. The next morning, the twin suns rose lazily over the alien forest, bathing the valley in soft golden light. Alex stretched, feeling the soreness from the previous day's exploration, but also a spark of determination. They had learned so much from the alien structures and technology. And now the challenge was clear. Repair the ship and find a way off this planet. Mara was already awake, checking the river and inspecting their camp. We can't stay here forever, she said firmly. The planet is unpredictable. We need a plan to fix the ship and leave. Alex nodded, gripping his toolkit. I agree. We have the technology from the ruins. We can use it to adapt the ship's systems. Mara raised an eyebrow. It won't be easy. We'll need to combine human engineering with alien design. And the planet won't make it simple for us. They gathered their tools and the alien devices they had salvaged, making their way back to the wrecked Artemis II. The forest around them was alive, glowing with faint light from bioluminescent plants. Strange creatures moved between the trees, observing them but keeping a cautious distance. When they reached the ship, Alex immediately began assessing the damage. The hull had deep scratches and small cracks from the crash. Sparks flickered from damaged circuits. The engines were nearly destroyed. Mara knelt beside him, reviewing schematics from the alien technology. These devices, she said, pointing to a small holographic panel, can interface with our systems. If we can integrate them, we might stabilize the engines enough for takeoff. Alex frowned. That's risky. We don't know if the alien technology will respond correctly with human systems. Mara nodded. I know. But it's our best chance. They spent the next several hours working together, combining human engineering and alien innovation. Alex improvised tools from salvaged parts, crafting connectors and energy conduits. Mara adjusted the ship's control panels, using the holographic projections to guide her. Slowly, the ship hummed with new life. Lights flickered on, and small displays blinked with activity. Looks like it's working, Alex said cautiously, testing the new system. Mara smiled faintly. Not completely, but we're getting there. We need to test the engines outside the ship, carefully. One mistake, and we could be stranded or worse. As they prepared for testing, the ground beneath them shook. Alex grabbed a support beam to steady himself. Mara looked up sharply. Seismic activity again. Or something else. A shadow moved through the trees, large and swift. From the undergrowth emerged a massive alien predator, its skin shimmering in shades of green and gold. It roared, a sound that shook the forest and echoed across the valley. Alex froze. Back to the ship, Mara shouted. They sprinted across the clearing, dodging low-hanging vines and glowing roots. The predator pursued, faster than they could have imagined. Alex tripped on a root, but Mara grabbed his arm, pulling him to his feet. Together, they reached the ship's hull. Alex slammed the hatch closed behind them. Mara worked quickly at the controls, trying to bring the engines online while the Predator pounded against the hull. Sparks flew from the ship's damaged panels, but the alien technology they had integrated began stabilizing the systems. "Hold on!" Alex yelled as the engines roared to life, vibrating beneath them. The ship lifted slightly, then hovered above the ground. The Predator's roar turned into frustrated screeches as it lunged, only to be knocked back by the ship's thrusters. Mara's hands flew over the controls, adjusting power and stabilizing the ship. "We need altitude. We can't stay near the ground." The Artemis II rose steadily, dodging trees and strange alien flora. Alex watched the Predator disappear into the forest below, then exhaled, finally allowing himself a small smile. "That was too close." Mara nodded, her expression serious but proud. "We survived because we worked together. That's what humans do. We adapt. We survive." Once in the air, they assessed the damage. The engines were functional but fragile. The ship's hull had minor cracks, and several panels needed reinforcement. They couldn't risk leaving the planet entirely until they ensured stability. Alex pointed to a plateau nearby. "We can land there. Use the alien materials we found to reinforce the hull and repair critical systems. Once we're ready, we go." Mara agreed. They carefully descended to the plateau, clearing away debris and setting up a temporary repair station. Alex scavenged alien materials from the ruins they had explored, while Mara applied human engineering principles to integrate them into the ship. Hours passed. Sweat dripped down their faces as they worked tirelessly. The twin suns were low on the horizon. When Alex finally stepped back, "It's ready for one test run." Mara nodded. "Careful. We can't afford mistakes now." They climbed into the cockpit, strapping themselves in. Alex initiated the engines, and the ship lifted a few meters, hovering steadily. Mara monitored systems closely, adjusting power distribution and testing stability. "It's working," Mara said quietly, a rare smile on her face. "We can do this." Suddenly, the ground trembled again. Dust fell from nearby rocks, and Alex's heart pounded. From the forest emerged a pack of predators. Drawn by the vibrations, Alex and Mara exchanged tense glances. "We have no choice," Alex said. "We take off now." Mara nodded, gripping the controls. "Ready when you are." The engines roared, lifting the Artemis II higher into the air. Trees whipped past them as they gained altitude, and the predators below shrieked in frustration. Alex held tightly to his seat as the ship stabilized. Once above the forest, they finally allowed themselves a brief moment of relief. The planet stretched beneath them, strange and alive, but they had conquered its immediate dangers. Mara exhaled, her expression both tired and triumphant. "We did it," Alex said, his voice filled with awe. "We survived the predators, the terrain, and the crash. The ship works." Mara looked at him, eyes softening. "And we survived together. That's what matters most." They spent the rest of the evening in orbit around the planet, using the alien technology to patch minor systems and reinforce the hull. Alex marveled at how humans could adapt and survive in such impossible conditions. They had combined intuition, courage, and intelligence to overcome the planet's challenges. As night fell, the twin moons reflected off the ship's hull, casting a pale glow across the cockpit. Alex and Mara shared a quiet meal, exhausted but proud. Mara finally spoke, her voice soft but firm. "Alex, I want you to know something. You've proven yourself, not just in survival, but in trust, courage, and ingenuity. I can no longer pretend that I can handle everything alone. We're stronger together." Alex felt a warmth in his chest. "I feel the same way, Mara. We survive because we trust each other. And we face challenges together. That's what makes us human." She smiled faintly. "Yes. And we will continue to survive, no matter what this planet throws at us." They sat quietly, listening to the hum of the ship and the distant sounds of the alien world below. The forest was alive with creatures moving in the night. But inside the Artemis II, they felt safe for now. Alex looked out at the stars beyond the planet's atmosphere. He realized that humans were remarkable. They adapted, learned, and survived against all odds. On a strange planet with unknown dangers, they had proven that human ingenuity and courage could overcome even the most impossible challenges. Mara's hand brushed against his as she handed him a drink. "Tomorrow," she said softly, "we chart a course home. But for now, rest. We've earned it." Alex nodded, feeling a sense of accomplishment and hope. Together, they had survived, adapted, and overcome. The planet had tested them, and they had passed. The forest below whispered secrets of survival and danger. But Alex knew they were ready. They had each other. And they had the human spirit, a combination stronger than any predator or storm. As he drifted to sleep, Alex made a quiet promise to himself. Humans would endure. Humans would adapt. Humans would thrive. And nothing, not even the unknown, could stop them. The Artemis II hovered silently above the alien forest, bathed in the pale light of twin moons. Alex and Mara had spent the night reinforcing the hull, repairing the engines, and integrating the alien technology as best they could. The ship was fragile, but it was alive just like them. "Today is the day," Mara said, her voice steady. "We leave this planet. We go home." Alex checked the systems one last time. The engines hummed steadily, the shields held against small debris, and the navigation systems responded to the controls. "Everything looks good," he said cautiously. "But we need to be ready for anything. This planet isn't done testing us." Mara nodded. "I know. But we're humans. We survive. We adapt. And together, we're unstoppable." They climbed into the cockpit, strapping themselves in. Outside, the alien forest stretched endlessly, glowing faintly in the moonlight. The creatures that had once prowled near their camp now retreated into the shadows, watching curiously, but keeping their distance. Alex started the engines, feeling the familiar roar beneath his hands. Mara adjusted the control panels, ensuring that all systems were synchronized. The Artemis II lifted slowly, hovering above the treetops. The forest trembled faintly beneath them, as if the planet itself were testing their resolve one final time. Suddenly, a massive shadow crossed their path. Alex's heart jumped. From the depths of the forest, the large predator they had encountered before appeared, moving swiftly toward the ship. Its skin shimmered in the moonlight, and its roar echoed across the valley. "Mara, brace yourself," Alex shouted. Mara's hands flew over the controls. "We go up. Now." The engines roared louder as the ship ascended rapidly. Trees whipped past below them, and the predator lunged, only to be knocked back by the thrusters. Alex gritted his teeth, holding on tightly, while Mara adjusted the ship's trajectory. Together, they maneuvered carefully, dodging trees, rocks, and the alien creature's attacks. Once they cleared the forest, they leveled off in orbit, breathing heavily, but alive. Mara exhaled, a small smile on her face. "We made it out. That's what matters." Alex nodded, his heart still racing. "That was too close. But we survived." They spent the next several hours navigating the planet's atmosphere, carefully plotting a course through the asteroid field that had caused their initial crash. Alex's hands moved over the controls with precision, while Mara used the alien technology to monitor the hazards ahead. "Look at this," Mara said, pointing to a holographic display. "The alien sensors can help us anticipate asteroid movements. We can use this to avoid collisions." Alex's eyes lit up. "Perfect. Let's do it." They entered the asteroid field cautiously. Rocks of all sizes hurtled past them, some barely missing the ship, others close enough to shake the hull. Alex's quick reflexes and Mara's strategic planning allowed them to navigate the dangerous terrain. Sparks flew from minor impacts, but the Artemis II held steady. Hours passed, but eventually, they cleared the last of the asteroids. Alex exhaled in relief. "We did it. We're through." Mara nodded, her face reflecting both exhaustion and pride. "Humans are incredible. We survived a crash, predators, an alien world, and an asteroid field. And we did it together. Alex smiled. It's not just survival. We adapted. We learned. We used every bit of knowledge we had, and we improvised when necessary. That's what makes us human. Mara's expression softened. I've learned something important too. I can no longer pretend I'm invincible, or that I don't need others. You've shown me the strength in collaboration, trust, and courage. I respect you, Alex. Truly. Alex felt a warmth in his chest. I respect you too, Mara. And I've learned that humans can thrive, even in the most impossible situations, when we trust each other. As the stars stretched endlessly beyond the viewport, they finally saw the familiar lights of human civilization ahead, a space colony orbiting a distant planet. Relief washed over them. The colony's communication network came alive as they transmitted their coordinates. Soon, other ships responded, guiding them safely to a landing bay. The Artemis II descended, engines humming steadily. They landed with careful precision, the ground shaking slightly beneath the ship. Crew members rushed forward, eyes wide with surprise and concern. Alex, Mara, are you okay? One of the colonists shouted. We're fine, Alex said, climbing down from the ship. We survived. Mara stepped beside him, her eyes scanning the crowd. We made it, thanks to human ingenuity, teamwork, and resilience. And we learned a lot along the way. The colonists helped secure the ship and bring them inside. Alex and Mara recounted their experiences, showing the alien technology they had salvaged and explaining how they had repaired the ship. The crowd listened in awe, marveling at the duo's resourcefulness and courage. Later, in a quiet room away from the crowd, Mara turned to Alex. I need to say this again. I can no longer pretend I'm invincible. I've relied too long on appearances and pride. You've taught me the value of trust, of collaboration, of human resilience. I can't thank you enough. Alex smiled. You don't need to thank me. We survived together. That's enough. They sat in silence for a moment, watching the stars through the window. Outside, the universe stretched endlessly, full of unknown worlds, dangers, and possibilities. But Alex and Mara knew one thing for certain. Humans were survivors. They adapted, learned, and overcame challenges that seemed impossible. Mara broke the silence, her voice soft. Alex, I think we've both changed. We've survived more than anyone could imagine. And we've discovered something important, not just about this planet, but about ourselves. Alex nodded. Yes. Humans are more than just explorers or scientists. We're thinkers, learners, creators, and fighters. We thrive because we adapt. And we thrive because we work together. Mara smiled. Then let's promise each other something. No matter what challenges come next, we face them together, with trust, courage, and resilience. Alex extended his hand. Together, they shook hands firmly, a bond forged in survival, discovery, and mutual respect. Outside the window, the stars continued to shine, reminding them of the vastness of the universe and the power of the human spirit. As they prepared for the next mission, the Artemis II fully repaired and ready for flight, Alex reflected on their journey. They had crashed on an unknown planet, faced predators, survived an alien environment, and learned from an extinct civilization. But more than that, they had discovered the strength of humans, the ability to endure, adapt, and grow stronger through adversity. Mara looked at Alex, her expression filled with pride and relief. We made it through everything. And now, we're ready for whatever comes next. Alex smiled. Yes, because we're human. And humans don't give up. Humans survive. Humans thrive. The two of them stood together, watching the stars, knowing that their journey had changed them forever. They had faced the impossible and emerged victorious, stronger, wiser, and more united than ever before. The universe was vast, full of unknown dangers and mysteries. But Alex and Mara knew one undeniable truth. No matter the odds, humans could endure, adapt, and triumph. And as the Artemis II prepared for its next voyage, they felt ready for anything the cosmos could throw at them. Together, they would continue to explore, to survive, and to thrive, humanity's spirit shining brighter than any star in the sky.